Citizens often have questions or would like more information about specific topics, projects, and/or processes in city government. We have designed a show to do just that. Through a series of discussions with Mayor Randy McClement and key city staff and guests, we hope to educate, clarify, and update our viewers on a variety of current city topics. I'm Susan Harding, and welcome to City Issues. City Issues is wrapping up a three-part series on Carroll Creek Linear Park. In Part 1, the history and vision of the park was discussed with guest State Senator Ron Young. Part 2 brought a discussion of the design and construction. Today we wrap up the series with a discussion of the future plans for Carroll Creek Linear Park. Richard Griffin, Executive Director of the Department of Economic Development, is with us along with Mayor Randy McClement. During Mayor McClement's administrations, much of the construction has come to fruition, most recently with the opening of the Galleria section. And Mayor McClement, that was a great opening of this section. So I'd like to welcome Richard Griffin. Thank you for joining us today. And Mayor McClement,
thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
The Galleria fountain opening was great.
It was a great turnout, probably one of the better turnouts we've had of any kind of event in the city. It helped that we partnered with Live at 5 as well, but I think that shows the interest of what this park was intended to be and what it can do. So I think one of the things today I want to talk to Richard about is, we talked about the park over the sessions, where it was, what brought it forth, how it was designed, some of the constructions. But, as far as maybe with the future and more importantly in my thought is the economic value of the park. We know that there's been a good return on investment from Phase 1. We're anticipating as an equal return on investment for Phase 2. But we've had the history and the ability of Phase 1 to see what it has done. Why don't you, sort of from your knowledge of the time, some of the nice economic benefits that have happened from the construction of Phase 1 and potentially Phase 2?
Well, when we built the Phase 1 and finished that project in 2006 under the Daugherty administration, there were 4 buildings that were constructed virtually at the same time as that phase of construction. And those 4 buildings, where the new La Paz restaurant is located, many people don't, I suppose, newer to the community may not even realize that it used to not be in that location and that that's not a historic building. In addition, you had Creekside Plaza that was constructed, which is a fully mixed-use building with ground floor retail and offices and upper floor residential. You had the South Market Center building, which is a 47,000 square foot building that has ground floor retail with great dining options in it, and then upper floor offices. Some of our best and most expensive offices in the community are right there in that building. And right across the creek. It's a residential project that has 47 condominiums in it, and all of those condominiums were sold very quickly. The place still remains incredibly vibrant. So with that, a lot of jobs were created. And now, as we shift gears into the next phase, we're looking to see if we can get those same types of returns.
Now, one of the things, especially on this Phase 2, that when the decision was made to put the almost $15 million worth of investment on Phase 2 was trying to figure out what the potential for return on investment was. And in the other section of this 3-part trilogy, you had mentioned the McCutcheons and the warehouse, and that they're moving forward. But we also realized that that's sort of the key to what we call East Frederick Rising, the next future large growth period of our part of our community is the east side of town. And that part of the creek, Phase 2, really sort of is the front door to that. So why don't you explain some of the things that are happening right around the creek, maybe it's like Bert Anderson stuff, and some of the stuff a little further out that the creek is really, we think, is spurring that on.
Well, one of the early pioneers and real innovators of the east side of downtown is Bert Anderson. And Bert had a vision for taking a lot of those historic small buildings and renovating them putting them back to productive use as retail facilities. And so Shabro and Eveready Square is one of our most productive retail areas in the city. And it's continuing to get better and better. And now you have Burt investing in Monocacy Valley Canning Building, which is down closer to the intersection of South and East Street, across from the Frederick County Public Schools headquarters facility, which in of itself is a new facility in downtown and brought several hundred workers into the area. But you have him investing there, and you've got great companies like Chiesi Pharmaceuticals moving in. You have plans that the city is working with the Chamber and the Downtown Frederick Partnership and others to help lure and have a full-service hotel and conference center constructed that's going to drive 280 new jobs and $25 million worth of economic impact annually in that area and attract more investment. You've got Regent Education that's taken a 24,000 square foot lease in an old warehouse building because they love cool, old, funky space, and they want to have their workforce down here, and they want to use that facility as a tool to help attract the workers of the future, working right in downtown, working right on Carroll Creek. So the park improvements is, if you will, it's an investment being made by the city to attract private investment to come in and around it and create jobs and create tax base that the city will continue to enjoy for many years into the future.
You know, I grew up in Frederick, and that entryway, that East Street entry into Frederick is my favorite entry into Frederick. I love it because growing up here, that was the heart and soul of the city. That's where you had the Eveready company, you had the Ox Fiber company, you had, you know, the farmers' mills and things. So I love coming in that area and seeing that part of town so vibrant now.
Well, and without that road there, you would never have had an opportunity to see that part of the city. I mean, a lot of folks don't realize that the east side of a lot of downtowns in the old days were the industrial areas because the prevailing winds were from the west. They blew through town, and then you had the industrial areas on the east side, and any of the smells or the fumes that came off of that would be blown away. But today, those old buildings provide a unique fabric for us to create the economy of the future and the innovation areas. And so, with these, we now have 25 technology companies in downtown Frederick. Many of them have bought their own buildings or leasing their own.
And that's one of the things that we did say, and you said it was the old industrial side of town, and we've tried to keep the character as the creek progresses. We're trying to keep that character of what it was. You'd mentioned one time Bob McCutcheon is expanding McCutcheon Apple products, and I think there's talk about some sort of water wheel feature and stuff that again shows the old industrial side of the town. One of the big things the city has has going for it, we have a big tourist base here, and Frederick County Tourism Council took over one of the old tanneries and converted it into their visitor center, and it's right there along the creek. And so in Burt, while he had a little tweak to the General Mills or the General Tire building, he gave it just a little bit of that futuristic look, but he still has those parts of it. It kind of blends in and very architecturally sound. But then we mentioned earlier in the second phase that beyond those areas right now, we said we're growing to the east. We have the Wren Farm that is going to be basically, if you plant the Wren Farm property over downtown, it's just about the same size as downtown.
One of the big strategies that downtowns have all over the country right now is to bring people back. What happened after World War II was people kind of fled out of urban areas. They went to the suburban locations. And what's happening nationally, and it's happening in our region, it's happening right here in Frederick, is that young people, professionals, empty nesters, all are flocking back to urban areas. They want to be close to shops and retail and a place to go out and have dinner and or a drink or have dessert or whatever, and they want to be entertained.
And they want to walk.
And they want to be able to walk and not have to get in their automobile. And in increasing numbers, our younger people want to be in these places. They don't necessarily want to have to drive an automobile or even own an automobile. So the idea that you bring residential in close to downtown on the Wren Farm and deliver more residents, both in places like that, but also innovative new ideas. The Osherman Company has purchased properties now from the county to deliver, artist live-work facilities in downtown. I mean, you've got new properties on the north side of downtown at North Point going in that are really cool, net zero properties that are delivering the houses of the future for the workforce of the future right here in town. So the east side presents a real unique opportunity. The north side presents a real unique opportunity, and we need to continue to focus on those areas.
And both of those, I believe, have the creek has its best interest in mind. The creek was the catalyst. The creek was the spur. I think we mentioned off air that we talk about how many people just come to the city to see the creek, and to be there. It's that San Antonio feel, So it's an economic spur for our city. It helps bring what we're looking for, the residents, the more businesses, the livability, walkability aspect, and it is that catalyst for the next larger growth area, which is our east side.
Let's move up the creek to a little bit on the west side.
Sure.
And just discuss a little bit about some things that are happening on that end.
Well, as the west end of the park has been remade, if you will, with wider paths, be able to move people more efficiently, better lighting, better street park furniture along the way. It's done exactly the same thing. It's attracted reinvestment in those neighborhoods, and so now you have 3 new businesses that have either opened or are opening on the west side. You've got Le Parc Bistro, which is in the location. It's been many different restaurants, but remade and going strong. You've got the Blue Side, which is in the old Bent Street Raw Bar location, and they seem to have a real good vision and a great menu. And then you have Serenity Tea Room moving into the old Labor Ready building over there and remaking that whole side into a dining destination, and people are going to use Carroll Creek Park to get there.
Exactly. That's the big thing, is that walkability and the ability just to come out of your house, go do what you need to do, or even just as visitors. You not only be able to walk up and down Market Street, up and down Patrick Street, but you also get to walk up and down the creek. So we have now we're a destination where it used to be come and get up and down Market Street and go home, but now there's so much to do, you need to stay.
At the end of the day, and I don't want to lose track of this, is that while we all focus sometimes on the financial aspects of it, the jobs, and the buildings, the physical environment, at the end of the day, a lot of it comes back to the people. You got the visitors, you have the residents, and you have the workers. And building a community that's a vibrant, world-class community, it costs money, but with the right vision, with the right oversight, and with the right attention to detail, I think it's going to continue to deliver great results for this community into the future.
It goes back to the old, you have to spend money to make money.
You do have to invest. You have to invest wisely, but one might say that City of Frederick has been doing that with great bond ratings and delivering results.
That's great. Mayor McClement, do you have anything else to add to this?
No, I don't, Susan, but I thank you again, Richard. It's been great. It gives that perspective, kind of wraps it all, ties it all up. We had the reason why, and we sort of had the plan and the implementation of it, and what it's done for the city out in the future. So thank you for providing all of this information. It's been great, and hope the public has learned some stuff.